Antonia Food, located in North London, was an unremarkable store. If you walk down any high street in London, you're likely to come across similar. The exterior showcased a selection of fresh produce, while the interior offered a range of food from Eastern European countries. Customers were often welcomed by a bottle-blonde Bulgarian woman with distinctive eyebrows. However, Galina Nikolova was not your typical store employee. She was actually one of the key figures behind the largest benefit fraud scheme ever seen in the UK. Nikolova's arrest was the culmination of a 2-year investigation into an organised gang by counter-fraud officials at the Department for Work and Pensions, who later described the case as the most complex they had ever worked on. Remarkably, that investigation only began when a Bulgarian detective from the quiet city of Sliven noticed a sudden increase in unexplained wealth in the area and started asking questions. This led him to discovering that thousands of the city's residents were receiving £2,500 every month, courtesy of the benefit system of the United Kingdom. This is the quite unbelievable story of how a Bulgarian gang stole more than £50 million from the UK taxpayer. You are watching OCG TV. Galina Nikolova started making fraudulent claims for universal credit in October 2016, before Brexit changed the rules on EU citizens claiming benefits. Universal credit was launched in April 2013, replacing 6 other welfare benefits. The monthly payment is available to people on low incomes or out of work. It is intended to help with the costs of housing, children and childcare. It also supports disabled people and carers. Online applicants must provide bank account details, an email address and a working phone number. Claimants must also prove their identity and provide information about their housing, earnings, other benefits they may receive, and details of any disabilities or health conditions. At the time, she was working alongside another Bulgarian named Ganesh Ali. Ali had promoted himself online as an accounting expert through his company Deluxe Advisors, although having previously described himself as a carpenter in a listing at Companies House in the previous year. In a video released in 2020, Ali announced his intentions to establish offices in major cities across England. He also extended a helping hand, in Bulgarian, to individuals with settled or pre-settled status in the UK under the post-Brexit immigration regulations, encouraging them to reach out for assistance. Meanwhile, he was embezzling millions of pounds from the British taxpayer. Ali was originally the ringleader of the group. He essentially served as the mastermind, teaching the gang how to carry out their operations. Nikolova, on the other hand, took Ali's original concepts and expanded upon them, implementing them on a larger scale. The gang would utilize their IDs to initiate the claims and then enhance the applications with fake tenancy agreements, employment records, GP letters, or proof of children. Investigators suspect that while the claimant may receive the initial benefit payment, the gang would collect the subsequent monthly payments, often withdrawing the funds in cash from numerous bank accounts. Forged letters from schools would be used if it was said that there were children part of the claim, because that potentially boosted the value of the claim. In 2018, Ali and Nikolova decided to terminate their business partnership for reasons that remain unclear. Following this, Nikolova established a new company called G Translations and Advice Limited in July of the same year. Not only did she bring along one of Ali's employees, Patricia Paneva, who is also Bulgarian, but she also brought with her the knowledge and skills she had acquired from Ali on how to deceive the welfare system. Nikolova began operating her new venture from a back room located in Antonia Food. Thousands of Bulgarians were transported to London by the fraudsters, usually by plane paid for by the gang, to file claims for universal credit. The gang capitalized on the relaxation of benefit rules during the pandemic, enabling them to exploit fraudulent claims that originated in October 2016. The Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, faced challenges in conducting face-to-face checks for universal credit due to COVID restrictions and a surge in claims. Consequently, the number of individuals receiving benefits nearly doubled, reaching just under 6 million between March and June 2020. This period also witnessed a significant increase in fraud, with official data revealing a staggering £10.2 billion lost to fraud on universal credit during the 2 years of the pandemic, from 2020 to 2022. What is most remarkable about this case is that it was only exposed when a lone detective in a quiet Balkan city began his own investigation, after he suddenly saw the locals living far beyond their means, displaying signs of undeclared wealth. Inspector Vasil Panayotov, a detective from the city of Sliven in Bulgaria, first became suspicious after he noticed locals sporting designer clothing and a huge increase in the number of properties being built. He launched his investigation into the apparent influx of cash into the town and soon discovered that thousands of residents were receiving up to £2,500 a month in benefits from the UK. Despite its relatively small population of 80,000, Sliven is the 8th largest city in Bulgaria. It became well known for its textile industry, with the country's first mill founded there in 1834. But the area has since faced years of decline and now houses one of the largest ghettos in Europe. Mr. Panayotov received information from his contacts that hundreds of people were receiving social benefits from the United Kingdom, using the weaknesses in the British social system. Panayotov claimed the gang had at least 6,000 customers, who each paid a one-off commission of between £500 and £800. They would then receive on average between £2,000 and £2,500 a month for 2 months. After this point, the gang would take the cash for themselves, and over time they became so rich they started splurging money on material possessions, which eventually was their downfall. Since the arrests, Mr. Panayotov says that many people in the town hate him. The British Embassy in Bulgaria, on the other hand, invited the detective to celebrate the late Queen's birthday party to say thank you for his hard work. In May 2021, law enforcement officials from the Metropolitan Police, in collaboration with DWP investigators, conducted raids on 3 establishments located in the Wood Green and Stoke Newington regions of North London. One of the businesses targeted was Antonia Food, while various residential addresses were also included in the operation. During the search at Deluxe Advisors, which is Ali's company spanning across 3 floors, investigators made a startling discovery. They came across a significant amount of evidence, including computers which were left open on the Universal Credit application page. Additionally, filing cabinets were found to be filled with claim packs and folders containing detailed records pertaining to benefit claims. Various cheap mobile phones were seized, all of which were in the process of being charged. Alongside these phones, investigators also found thousands of SIM cards. Most of the phones had the names and claim numbers of the applicants they were associated with written on the back. To illustrate the brazen nature of the applications, just 2 phones had been utilised in 100 fraudulent claims, with the numbers being attributed to fictitious landlords. Investigators also discovered a voice-altering microphone, which they presumed the fraudster utilised to modify their voice whenever a benefits official contacted them to verify claim information. On the highest level of the building, they found a bucket fastened to a rope, indicating its potential use for swiftly transferring phones between floors. It was likely employed by dropping it through a window, enabling accomplices to impersonate claimants during phone conversations. Upon scrutinizing the smartphones and computers belonging to the gang, they came across spreadsheets containing precise information for thousands of claims. The material from Deluxe Investors was taken to Edmonton Police Station, where it was placed alongside evidence seized from the other raids. A large haul of luxury items had been seized. Rows of expensive shoes from designers such as Moschino, Chanel and Alexander McQueen were found, particularly at Nikolova's property. Also taken were a Moncler jacket, Versace watch, Ugg boots, Dyson hairdryer, Ray-Ban sunglasses and an Audi car. The group were arrested but later released under investigation. Days later, Ali, the suspected leader, fled to Plovdiv, Bulgaria's second city. The Bulgarian courts initially rejected an extradition request, but a higher court overturned that decision. In February 2023, Ali was returned to the UK. Svetska Todorova, another member of the gang, attempted to flee but was apprehended at Stansted Airport. Nikolova, on the other hand, had plans to leave and was arrested for attempting to obtain a new Bulgarian passport under false pretenses after claiming to have lost the original. Initially, all three women, along with Ali and Stoyan Stoyanov, pleaded not guilty during various hearings spanning a 13-month period starting from March 2023. However, they eventually admitted to benefit fraud. Ganesh Ali, aged 34, received a sentence of 7 years and 3 months in prison. Stoyan Stoyanov, aged 28, was sentenced to 4 years, while Svetska Todorova, aged 53, received a 3-year imprisonment. Patricia Peneva, aged 27, was sentenced to 3 years and 2 months. The judge took into consideration that she was only 19 when she was initially recruited by Nikolova and had been paid £80 a day by the gang. Speaking after the case, Ben Reed, specialist prosecutor for the CPS, said, "This case is the largest benefit fraud prosecution ever brought to the courts in England and Wales. For a number of years, these defendants conspired to commit industrial-scale fraud against the universal credit system, costing the taxpayer more than £50 million. Submitting thousands of false claims, the organised criminals enriched themselves from government funds designed to protect and help the most vulnerable people in our society. This was a complex and challenging case which required close and effective working between CPS prosecutors, the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, and our international partners in both Bulgaria and through the UK desk at Eurojust to dismantle and successfully prosecute the organised crime group. The guilty pleas entered by all 5 defendants reflect the strength of the evidence against them. The CPS, Proceeds of Crime Division, and DWP will now pursue confiscation proceedings against the defendants to remove from them any available criminal benefit from this enterprise. This case should be a perfect example of why the social welfare system in the United Kingdom should be reviewed to ensure it protects society's most vulnerable and is unable to be penetrated by fraudsters. At a time when the cost of living crisis has gripped the country, to see at least £50 million vanish from the UK economy is extremely concerning. With prison sentences for large-scale fraud amounting to little over 7 years and only having to serve half of that sentence, there is little deterrent for those who wish to exploit the system. Until authorities get serious about tackling this problem, it is likely not the last that we will see. Until next time, thanks for watching OCG TV.